Hopefully it will work. Okay. Nice. Okay. And if I'm correct, it's working. Let me check. Could you say something? It's working.
Bla bla bla. 1, 2, 1, 2. Probando.
Could you say something? Okay. Is it working, everyone? Do you guys can hear me and Nacho too?
Hello. 1, 2, 3. Testing. The microphone.
It should work. Yes. Okay. Nice.
Bla bla.
And there is no echo, right? So there is no echo in the system.
Bla bla bla.
Hopefully. Hopefully there is no echo. Okay. Then I will switch the chat to slower mode. Okay. This. Okay. No problem if you're not. Oh, okay. So it's working. Okay, thank you. Okay, nice. So all set up. Nice. Okay. Okay. And one thing I forgot. Nice. Okay. Because if I'm correct, yeah, I switched the two cameras so both of us can be seen now. Okay, it's working now. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Remulto and this is Nacho next to me to my left. And this is the Dev Talk episode 1. I'm very honored today to be here with Nacho, and in this first episode I will do an interview with him. We first met at Gamescom, and I was very pleased to be able to talk with him about his game, The Many Pieces of Mr. Coup. And like I said, I'm very honored today to be with him here and be able to talk with him. So in this episode, I would like to ask and talk with you about a lot of things. My very first question would be is that could you please introduce yourself to my viewers and to everyone who will watch this video?
Okay, hello, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
So I'm Nacho Rodríguez. I'm Spanish animator and director, and I've been animating professionally for more than 20 years now. So my latest work has been this long project of a video game called The Many Pieces of Mr. Coup, which is a point-and-click game with a lot of emphasis on the 2D animation.
Okay, thank you. I believe that we should start with a question, a very specific question of mine, is that I believe that in everyone's life, childhood is a very important thing to experience, and it reflects our future as well. So could you tell me more about your childhood and how it affected your life throughout your journey?
My childhood. Okay. Indeed, there's a lot of my childhood feeling and experiences put into the game. But it's the first time that someone publicly asks me about the
Hope you don't mind it, of course.
No. It's I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for the therapy session. Tell me about your parents. Okay. No, my childhood. I'll focus on what on the feeling of my childhood that I wanted to transmit through my art and animation.
Okay, sure.
Which is in fact at the beginning of the game, Mr. Coup just is falling from the void with no gravity, and and that's somehow how I felt that we came into the world. Just what the hell is going on? We don't even have a point of reference. Everything is half wonder and half scary.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, even I'm 43 now, so I'm far from from those days. But I felt like it's that's the source of the inspiration and the good material for creativity. It
Mm-hmm.
actually comes from childhood and from what was your unique view, even when you knew nothing about the world, but you
Mm-hmm.
have a unique way of experimenting and experiencing it before you get conditioned into having the
Mm-hmm.
standard view and before you know how to make your taxes and stuff. So,
I see.
yeah, with Mr. Coup, I wanted to rescue this spirit of wonder and innocence
Mm-hmm.
and surrealism. Surrealism, which is the kind of the style,
Mm-hmm.
artistic
Mm-hmm.
style of the game, is for me the most realistic, accurate way to express the world because everything is surreal for a child when a child watches his father shaving or something, that's totally surreal. Or when they watch the adults' interactions in general, and why now we have to go from this place to this other place, and they take you and move you around.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So that experience is totally surreal for a child, and and that's what I wanted to, well, in a way, that's a source of the inspiration
Mm-hmm.
of the ambience that I want to take into the game.
I
So
see.
that's it, more or less.
I see. Thank you. Okay, so due to this question, to follow this question line, uh, when was the first time you realized you would like to like do animations and work in the art industry? So, at what age have you decided that you want to focus on this part of your life,
Hmm.
and how did you live
Yeah.
that day or from that day?
The funny thing is that well, I've been drawing for all my life since I have
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
use of reason, since I have memory. I was the 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 the, the pupil who drew well at class and stuff.
I see. I see.
Uh, but I wasn't sure of my career path
Mm-hmm,
uh, because we usually tend to think to think that if it comes naturally, it's not a. I mean, we should actually follow what comes naturally and
mm-hmm,
easily.
mm-hmm.
But when we are growing, we think that to be adult and to earn your life and stuff, it has to be something complicated and you have to do a lot of effort.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't an obvious choice for me. It was mainly other people who actually pointed out, hey, you should do art.
Oh, I
Oh,
see. I
oh
see.
shouldn't I do something more complicated and more boring? No, no, you should do art because you're. So I think it was my very best friend when we were 16 or 14. I don't know. Um, Javier Javier Garcia,
Mm-hmm.
who actually said, "Come on, Nacho, you are an artist. You have to do art." Oh, surely I don't have to do boring stuff. Yeah, yeah, that kind of makes sense, but it's
Yeah.
so easy.
Yeah, it's very good
Uh,
if you have someone that motivates you to go in that way that you would like to. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
yeah, we have to be recognized by other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly.
and so I went to study fine arts in Barcelona,
Mm-hmm.
and I was already making my own comic books and just for myself
I see.
um and also little animation experiments. But I didn't know what branch of the arts would be my final destination.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, it was an animation teacher from Barcelona, a very expert guy veteran from the industry, that in this very introductory course we had in fine arts of the very introductory of animation, I saw him the things that I was already animating, and he said, "You were born for animation." Oh, I didn't know that. Maybe I thought I had to go into design or something
Yeah.
more boring. And so again, yeah, what is already coming out naturally is what one should follow. And so yeah, at that time I was also thinking about comic books,
Mm-hmm.
but the industry in Spain is really difficult to make a living
I
and
see.
to do creative stuff in comic books and yeah, and to make a living out of it.
I see.
So I focus more in animation, and yeah, and I can. That's my preferred field of art
I
nowadays.
see, I see. And you mentioned your teacher. Was he like your mentor throughout your life, or do you have more
No,
mentors, or you just
no,
followed your
no.
path because they helped you, motivated you, and you had no mentor like mentorship?
No, no, this wasn't my mentor at all. Because this in fine arts we had a lot of subjects,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and this was a very little one of
Oh,
just
okay,
four
okay.
months, very introductory,
I see.
and he just happened to recognize me, but we
Uh
didn't
huh.
even had a very close relationship or
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
anything. I'm self-taught, so
Oh, I
it
see.
was my passion and my will
I
to
see.
learn and to investigate, and by trial and error finding
And
my
that's a very nice thing to
yeah
experience, and yeah, yeah, because a lot of
yeah yeah.
people like myself as well. I know from myself that I, even if I knew I'm talented in something like in writing, I always needed some mentors, and it's not a good thing to to experience, because I think it's easier if someone doesn't have a mentor, but he is so that passionate that he goes through all his excuses, not focusing on excuses, but go
Mhm.
forward. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
from
each
oh,
one has
sorry.
its own path. I mean,
Yeah, true, 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 true. Yeah,
somebody some people need to have this mentor or guide or teacher
yeah,
and
yeah,
formal
exactly.
studies. My
Yeah,
way is no, I don't. I have this passion in myself, and I will find my own way. I don't particularly like uh, teachers or the formal
yeah.
academical
I understand. I
exams and
understand.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's my own path.
No, it's true. It's
Uh,
true. It works. So it worked out. So it's fine. Yeah, and
mhm.
like you said, everyone has his own and or her own path. Yeah. So you mentioned animations, but how or when you started focusing on games, or where you first meet video games? Have you ever played like games before that you started? I'm guessing that you have played games, but so how it all started, how it came together that you would like to focus in video games as well.
Mm. Yeah, like most of little kids, I was amazed by video
Mm-hmm,
games,
mm-hmm,
and so when I was growing up in the 90s,
mm-hmm.
as the first Mario Bros. Appeared, and
Yeah.
fascinating. But I didn't have much of consoles. I only
Mm-hmm,
had
mm-hmm.
the Game Boy, and I'm very late. And but I remember before having any game or anything, just make my own cutout uh, paper like little games just to have them, because there was something very appealing for me to live this interactive adventure, but for me and for every most of the kids in the world, really. So little by little, the good thing about Flash, which is the software where I
Mm-hmm.
learned to animate, and which I still use, is that it allowed you to animate and code. And at the beginning, I was interested in both branches, animation and
Mm-hmm.
code, in order to bring interactivity yeah, to little games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I specialized in animation, and the code I know is already very outdated. It's still working, but it's the ActionScript 1, which is the very old
Mm-hmm.
language of Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So yeah, for me, the good thing about animation also is the fluidity and the life that it can uh, express.
Mm-hmm.
But if you add the interactivity dimension, it's much more rich. It's much richer, and it's much more engaging for the viewer player.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
that was my point. Always
Mm-hmm.
interested in taking interactivity to animation.
So I'm guessing that's why you choose the point and click genre for the game, because it's very interactive and very expressing in both ways.
Exactly. I mean,
I
it
see.
was the genre where I could put most of my talent and interest, which is
I
the
see.
narrative.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So what was your very first animation? I'm wondering, like very first one, which might be not public, but what was your very first animation that you remember you
Very
did?
first.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 13, there was this very old software called Autodesk Animator,
Mm-hmm.
which had very big pixels and but was
Mm-hmm.
pretty versatile. But although I had to draw with the mouse,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I was 13 and I was making my experiments,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember animating a chef, a cook who
Mm-hmm.
had the eggs like with a very small movement of the hand. The egg went to the pan from here. I was making something like that, and it already
Nice.
impressed my parents a little bit. And yeah, that was the first one that I can remember.
I see. And you mentioned your parents. I hope you don't mind asking. Did they follow your journey? Like, did they motivated you as well? Were they like motivating
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
you? Like, because a lot of parents nowadays are not, liking if a child has a dream or some talents and he wants to follow his own path. So I hope that your parents were motivating you and helping you.
Yeah, yeah, they were very supporting.
Uh-huh.
Of course, they always express this little concern. Okay, the child wants to go the arts way. Okay, they are always a bit worried about your future and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, no, they actually were very supporting
Uh-huh.
with whatever decision I wanted to
Mm-hmm,
take,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm very grateful for that.
I see.
Mhm.
And were they working in the art industry? So could they help you in that field, or very
No,
different? Oh, very
not
different.
at
Okay,
all.
okay, okay.
Not at all. No,
I see.
nothing at all.
I see. I
And
see. So it
and
was a
they,
very different path for you.
yeah,
I see. I see. I see.
they did appreciate that I had this drawing talent and
Uh-huh,
stuff,
uh-huh.
but most of the time I felt that the things I drew were too surreal and too weird for them. So they couldn't understand it. They could appreciate that it was good quality, good drawing,
I
but
see. I see. I see.
I just don't understand it. I don't
But
know.
they liked
What
it
is-
and they could appreciate it by that. So
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
good
yeah. And
thing.
of course, most importantly, they just let me do
I see. I
follow
see.
my path.
I see.
Mhm.
Okay, so you mentioned that it's very hard to like live from art. And have you been ever worried when you first started your career that it won't work out or something like that? So, or or
Mm,
never. You
not
knew
me.
that
Not
you will work, and it will be
I.
working out for you.
Yes. Well, I was very lucky that just as soon as I finished the studies of fine arts,
Mm-hmm.
almost the same day. Well, in fact, I still had one subject of painting, which wasn't my preferred thing. I had finished the whole career except for the painting
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
subject, which took me still one more year. But I was already working in animation, or because the online animation and stuff
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in 2002 was very blooming. So this advertisement company hired me to make this was yeah, little animations for the internet and stuff. And of course, there's always this little concern when you are starting, if you are going to get a job or if this will be your only chance or whatever. But I just kept doing what I liked,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and it always worked. Of course, I never had the security that okay, next year you will still
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
job
I
and this is.
understand. Yeah.
But the more I pushed to my personal stuff, the more recognition I had out there. So I
It kept
pretty
you motivating
soon,
more, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was when I made the first Mr. Coup animations in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
2004. And when I made my own website, mrcoup.com, with just the first animation of it,
Mm-hmm.
it was when I started getting freelance jobs. So I
Mm-hmm.
left
Mm-hmm.
the other work, started going freelance, and again with no security for the future. But the more I did my thing, the more doors it would open.
Yeah.
And today
Exactly.
I have no security at all about what will happen, but I know that I can only trust
Yeah, and
this
you love
path.
what you do, so it's what matters the most. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm wondering that you mentioned your website, and there are a lot of animations that you did for yourself, and for some, if I'm correct, you did for requests, or am I wrong?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so could you name some of them, and could you tell me about those that you did for yourself? What was the motivation behind them? Because I saw everyone, or every one of them, yeah. So, but I would be wondering which are the your favorite ones, and what was the
Mhm.
motives behind the little stories, because they were like very intuitive and very you know, mirror ones, reflecting for our words, and showing the bad side and the good side of our word as well. So for me, it was a very good thing to see and to enjoy, that you can express yourself that good through art. And you kept telling those stories for us, and to recognize the problems in our world, which I liked very much about that.
Mhm. Well, the ones that I made purely by myself and for
Hmm.
myself are only the Mr. Coup ones.
Oh, okay.
So the probably you're referring also to the music videos
Uh huh.
where I was always very lucky to have a lot of creative freedom,
Hmm.
but there were in collaboration with some other illustrators,
Hmm.
and always for the client was the music band or the label.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, they granted me a lot of freedom, so I could tell my stories, but
Hmm.
as I said, in collaboration and for a client. Maybe you were referring to the pedophile one,
Uh,
with the darkest part.
that, yes, and there was
Yeah.
another when character started flying with a plane for a journey and came back to his parents.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was kind of a music video turned into a short film.
Uh-huh.
That was kind of a commission. I mean,
Hmm.
it was the musician who hired me
Hmm. Hmm.
to make. He had the music and he wanted to have some this music video.
Hmm.
Gave me total freedom, and I collaborated with Sara Lopez, which who
Hmm.
also made the backgrounds in the video game
Hmm.
later. She made these objects and these planetoids with kind of stop motion and real objects. So we decided to adapt this very old story, which comes from Gnosticism, from the the mystical Christians of the second century.
Hmm.
It's a kind of a story of how do you say, the prodigal son. It's called the hymn of the pearl, hymn of the pearl. So instead of talking about mysticism or stuff, that we talked about this intergalactic cat going
Yeah.
away from home, rescuing
Okay.
the pearl and going back home.
I see.
So, mhm. And this had quite a few awards, international and
Nice.
stuff, and including a Goya nomination here in important festival in Spain, the Goya Awards. Yeah, so I kept well, that was that this the ones that you can find in my website are the ones that I'm most proud of my
Hmm.
works.
I see. I see.
But I have already make a lot of work in advertisements and stuff, which it's good technique and quality, but I'm not so happy with the message. Let's say no
I see.
when
I
you
see.
work in
I see. So
so
they are more
it,
strict by that company that hires you, I guess,
yeah.
or I see. I see. I see. I see. And
So
you said
little by
about.
little,
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Go for that.
no, little by little, I stepped away from the world of advertisement
I see. I see. I
and
see.
went into more personal projects.
Yeah, and more
And still,
freedom.
the voice of invisible and voice of Mr. Coup inside of me said, "These are nice, but do my stuff. You have to do
Yeah.
my video game
Yeah.
and my
Exactly.
big project." So
Exactly.
little by little, more and more my own stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about video games, and especially Mr. Coup. So how do you feel about the video game industry now? So what do
Mm.
you feel about today's phase of video game industry, and how could you describe it?
I don't know. There are too many video games.
It's true. It's true.
It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy that even what is Epic Games are doing for some years now is giving them away for free.
Yeah.
Very
Exactly.
good games giving away for free,
Yeah.
and they're still selling and selling. And I'm amazed that we are producing so many video games. Uh, but I don't know. I play a lot, but I'm not aware of the big industry. I'm not very interested in triple A's,
I see. I see.
and I don't like wasting too much time on video games. Although sometimes they hook me and get me too much time invested on them. Um, so I don't like super long video games, which hook you too much. The industry, I really don't know. I can tell about my problems with the softwares because the
Okay.
the actual technology of Flash is kind of outdated now, and of course it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work for consoles. But there's no actual substitute for Flash because Unity and Unreal and stuff, they are much focused on 3D, and even if it's 2D, it's very limited and it's usually puppets and cut out. But no software is giving the power back to the animators, where you can jump through a long timeline and have several timelines of several characters which
I
can
see.
interact easily. And Flash had this very light format of graphics, which were vector graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And today, I find no easy way to take these vector light graphics to console. So everything has to be a long and heavy series of PNGs or whatever. So it's much more cumbersome. And also, no software today allows you to animate and code at the same time
Mm-hmm.
with the ease that Flash did.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I can say about at least the software, which of course
I see.
conditions the creativity and the products
I
which are
see.
made. Hmm.
I see. Okay. So back to art and storytelling. I still have one more question. Is that if you make a project of your own for yourself or for like Mr. Coup, which comes first, like the story or the art, or both?
Hmm. Well, since it has no text,
Mm-hmm.
the story is told by the art,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
by the drawings. Mr. Cook had a little kind of prequel which was called El Laberinto Esférico, the Spherical Labyrinth,
Mm-hmm.
which came out in 2008. It was a little point and click
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
based on interactive comics.
Mm-hmm.
And the final spoiler, final sequence, the ending of the game was Mr. Coup riding the chicken, the little chicken. So years after, when I wanted to make a bigger game of Mr. Coup, I started just on that point, Mr. Coup riding the chicken, which again is also an expression of how to say of innocence and okay, let's see what's the world is about with
Yeah.
the
Let's look
little
around a
chickies.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, let's explore and let's get
Yeah,
into
yeah,
trouble
yeah.
innocently. So I took this beginning of Mr. Kura and the chicken, and I knew that he had to be cut into three pieces.
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
that accident would be the beginning of the adventure. So that was the germ of the story. So yeah, it's like symbolic references started to develop because it had been in this kind of limbo paradise stuck in for these years until I took him back to to the adventures. So being stuck around riding the chicken is kind of like being in heaven, but a very boring heaven where nothing is happening. So sooner or later, want it or not, you have to be cut into pieces. so,
I
so
see. Okay.
biblical reference, you have to take an apple and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, and then I started developing the story backwards because I realized that the player didn't know why did he want an apple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I started constructing the earlier stages where Mr. Q just wanted this apple, that's like the first desire, no? He's in the blank, and where there is nothing, at least there's the desire for life, for adventures,
Yeah.
for inadvertently, this is the desire of getting into trouble, actually. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
the innocence wants to get into trouble, and that's the beginning of the adventure.
Okay.
So I don't see the crocodile who actually cuts Mr. Coup. I don't see him as a antagonist, but just a catalyst on the one who permits the adventure to go on.
I see. I see. Okay.
Mhm.
And so going deeper into your game, there is a person who closes the door and who steals Mr. Coup and then closes the doors on them, because he's annoyed that they are happy, started getting happy. Who is he? So, or do we know something about him, or it's a
Yeah,
spoiler time, or
yeah. I can tell these secrets. Let me see. I have him around here. Let me. Okay.
yeah, yeah, he is.
The
It's
old
him.
guy.
Yeah,
The old guy. Okay, so
he's not that scary at this time.
yeah, little, but it's so broken, which is very coherent. I made it out of clay. It's not actually cooked, but it has kind of bones inside made of
I see.
uh, sticks, so it didn't fell apart, and it's very coherent with the character. So I didn't knew these characters until I was already making them. I
Mm-hmm.
found myself making on the one side, yeah, the crocodile, which is actually the same character of the axolotl,
Mm-hmm.
which morphs one into the other, and it's also it's like the chaos and innocence of, yeah, again, let's get into trouble. I'm the archetype of I'm going to cause mischief, and when there's violence upon me, this innocent mischief gets turned into the crocodile, which is destructive mischief, and it's the old man. It's actually who hits with the cane. So if one is chaos, this old man is control and
I
rigid
see.
control.
I see. I see.
He doesn't want chaos around, so he wants everything in order. He's a hoarder. That's why his tower is full of little things, but he wants them all in place and stuff and
That's why
stuff. And
probably that's why he's collecting all the stuff then in this
yeah,
big tower. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I see. I see.
And of course, he doesn't want people to have a party around.
Yeah.
So and of course, I found that these all are parts of myself that I have the innocent part, the chaotic part, and the controlling part who is actually afraid of the mess of life and
I see.
wants everything in its place.
Control. Yeah.
And it's very interesting to just let them be. Of course, I can have my preference of who is nicer and who is not so nice,
I see.
but I didn't want to finish the story telling so the old man learned to be more flexible, and
Yeah. I see. I see.
because it's not actually true in my life. I have still the controlling and fearsome part of myself. Maybe when I have gone through all the journey, I can tell, okay, I since I have overcame this old man part, I can talk about it. So for the moment, I just let them do their thing, and they are still struggling and to be continued.
I see. I see. So
And
I'm oh, sorry. Sorry. Go for that.
sorry, the more I let them just be, I've been actually reconciling with the old man,
I see.
poor little thing, because and he's actually I don't know. I feel a bit pity for him, and I started exploring also. This is a bit of the secret backstory.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever make the adventure of it. This was ideas for future adventures, but I don't know if I should explain this much. But this, of course, looks like the God of Old Testament. No, I mean, I'm Jehovah. I'm a severe God, and I will punish you if. But uh, the more develop the story of how he came to be like this, the more I thought that the very act of breaking away from paradise is what created this guy. It was not. hmm, I mean, maybe the axolotl is more conservative and more. This is a bit mysterious. Maybe the axolotl, just being natural and in the flow and blah blah blah, is the guy who is most conservative, and the one who actually broke the seal and the secret is the old guy who knows too much, who knows that what
Oh, I see.
shouldn't
That's
be
why
allowed.
he would like to be in control over things. I see.
Yes,
Yeah,
he's
yeah, I
the. I
see.
mean, he's one step ahead in the evolution of consciousness. Maybe he's the old man who actually beat the apple and broke the paradise. But
I
and
see.
that's
I see.
actually because the paradise is when everything was perfect and you were
Yeah,
natural,
yeah, I see.
but you
I
were a
see.
monkey.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, so exploring these themes, it actually makes me reflect on deep stuff.
I
I
see.
don't know.
I see. But that makes sense, and that's a very nice thing because, yeah, like I
Mhm.
said, for me, childhood is a very important thing, and I believe in that. I really believe in the stuff that I recognize through all my life. That when we grow up, we should somehow stay as a child. So not as whole, but being nice and you enjoying life and being creative, all that stuff. And I feel like a lot of people, a lot of adults are forgetting this, and that's why they are started to live a way more boring life than they should be. Like they forget about being passionate about something to work for their talent and yeah. And as you mentioned. Knowing that this old guy is in control and he's way ahead of Mr. Coup and the crocodile is very nice because like he knows the things that they should or not do or experience, but yeah, they still do it for themselves, I guess.
Mhm.
Okay, so I don't know if I can ask it or not, or you will respond
Yeah,
to
yeah.
this
Go ahead.
question, but so, are you planning to continue Mr. Coos adventure? Because there was an ending I would like. I don't want to spoil, but are you planning to release a DLC or a new game or a
Yeah,
following
yeah, yeah.
chapter for his adventures?
Yes, Mr. Ku will continue.
I see.
Um, the thing is that I had a lot of free time these later years because when I was waiting for the coders to finish
Mm-hmm.
the game, so I started developing the continuation. So, but these ideas were already developed in 2021,
Okay.
and I had like designed like the first at least 1 hour, maybe more, of the next game.
Okay.
Um, but suddenly the inspiration ran dry. I couldn't continue developing the game.
I
Maybe
see.
because I like to keep things fresh, and
Mm-hmm.
if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing, and I don't want to have it closed before doing it,
Yeah. I see. I see.
because it will be boring then to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I also had ideas for two little smaller games,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I have already started animating those, and maybe I will launch them by myself. I don't know, or maybe I find the right partners for the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of course there are. Mr. Cook will continue in one of the smaller or probably the big branch sooner or later.
I
But of
see.
course, I need the proper partners for the future.
I see. I
Yeah,
see.
I
Okay.
feel the game finishes with to be continued because I feel the branches of the story are just beginning. There's so
Yeah.
much
Yeah. Yeah.
to be
Exactly.
told about these characters.
I see. Have you been thinking about new key characters to bring in, like they are the new motifs of something, or just these three key characters, like you mentioned, Mr. Cool, the crocodile, and the old person or old guy?
For the moment, There are no new characters.
I see.
There's just a remix of the the existing ones
I see.
in new situations, and uh, mm, it's everything is open.
I see.
Maybe
I see.
where the story requires it, a new character will come up.
I see.
Mhm.
Okay. So when I first met you at Gamescom, we were talking about the game, and you wanted me not to buy the game because it has bugs, and I already told you that I pre-ordered it and I will get it anyway because I liked it. So, how have you been feeling about that the game has not been properly finished, and what kind of feelings did you have
Mhm.
at that time, and how could you go through those? I think bad feelings or
Yeah, yeah. It's been really hard because I started this project in 2012,
I see.
and I quit all my other jobs to focus on this in 2018. So since then, these 5 years have been me concentrated nonstop on the video game, uh, and yeah, um, the partners I had who wanted to, yeah, who had the deal to so that they would help me take it to the consoles. They got into a mess and they didn't made a good job with their company and with their coders. So the code was a mess, and we didn't release the day of the release, which was the game was not ready. It was full of bugs. And when we met at Gamescom, I was very stressed because the this crisis had just burst. And until middle of August, they were still promising me that no, the game will be launched with full quality. You don't you worry. But they had been telling me this for 5 years. So at the middle of August, it was too late already. It was only a month, and the game was full of bugs. Even the demo we had at Gamescom, it gave a lot of game-breaking bugs.
Mm-hmm.
1 out of 10 people or more found game-breaking bugs in this very short 10 minutes demo. So the game wasn't ready at all 1 month after that, the 7th of September. The good thing at Gamescom that in the middle of this crisis and I started making connections with other people from the industry, and I started realizing that I was not alone and I was not crazy to point out that this was a problem
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, with my old partners, it seemed that I was the crazy one for wanting a quality game with no game breaking bugs and stuff. So I started empowering myself with these connections with other people. I found a lawyer and I started this battle, denouncing that the game wasn't properly finished on the day
Mm-hmm.
of the launch. And for me, this was a little tragedy for me and for the players because the players deserve a good experience that had been designed for to be a good experience and not breaking and stuff. But many people like you were so generous as to just focus on the on the good parts of the game, the art style, the story, etc. And that was very paradoxical for me because, yeah, of course, I totally appreciate the the good welcoming. Uh, yeah, yeah, people said, okay, it has bugs, but it has a nice story and stuff. So yeah, we made a lot of pressure, and I made my public statement about it, which was kind of a uproar and outrage. But luckily for me, most of the people actually understood the situation
Mm-hmm.
perfectly
Mm-hmm.
and were on my side. In fact, this company had a bad reputation for bad managing of other projects. So nobody, it wasn't a surprise for anyone really in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But probably thanks to this public and media pressure, this company has been solving many of the issues. So since the patch of 2 weeks ago, already solved most of the most embarrassing game-breaking bugs.
Mm-hmm.
So the game is a much more fluid experience right now. Still, I'm pushing because it's not everything. Okay, I have lowered my standards a lot in order to to reach an agreement, but
Yeah, I
there's
see.
still a couple of things that had to be properly fixed. The final boss, especially because it doesn't have all the options, and it doesn't make sense to have a scary final boss that cannot actually kill you properly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
It
mm-hmm.
kills you a little bit, but it has to kill you in many different ways.
I see. I see.
Because if not, it's not scary.
I see.
And the mechanic of rewinding and stuff. Well, I won't go into the details, but there has to be much more richer and giving the control to the player, and not only having the player. "Oh, what should I do now? Okay, things happening, but I don't know why." So this is part of the experience. So I don't want to only give nice animation. Of course, nice animation and control to the player, and so the player knows that it is his experience and to be engaged personally, not only being baffled by something that isn't working properly.
Yeah, I see. I see.
Because I take surrealism very very seriously. I mean, if some things are surreal, other things have to be very logical, and I mean the mechanics have to be logical in order for the surrealism to work. Because if everything is random, the player doesn't get the actual experience and the actual puzzles, of course.
But
So
these two things are not too odd to mix, like these two things that you mentioned, the surrealism and the logical element of the game. Like they are way too out of themselves. So
yeah,
not a lot of people mix them together. Like
there are apparent contradictions, but of course, let's say I the first puzzle of the game, which is the arcade machine,
mm-hmm,
I gave you this onirical setting with a strange machine.
mm-hmm,
But of course, every time you don't know what the buttons do at the first try. But the buttons have to do their thing every time in order for you to understand it. And making their thing, each button, strange things happen like this monkey and stuff. But it's not acceptable that the button works. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work and makes different things. So that's the logical, the consistent part, so that then the player can understand the logic behind it and actually solve in his mind the puzzle. Oh, now I get it. One, two, three. But the things that happen, yeah, suddenly transformation, suddenly the puppets are actual scary things and stuff. Um, so that's the mix. So
I see.
I give a lot of work to the design of the puzzles, because it's not hard, but it's a challenge that I really like designing.
I see. Okay, going back to games, take a bit from Mr. Coup. You mentioned you play games. Which is your favorite one or favorite ones?
Mhm. Well, it's actually this genre of point and click or graphic
Okay,
adventures, like the classical Monkey Island,
I see.
Day of the Tentacle, and I was very inspired also by the Neverhood,
Nice.
which was this game, claymation
From
game in
claymation, yeah,
the
yeah,
90s.
yeah.
And I think we have the same cartoony interests.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Although the puzzles of the Neverhood were a bit too abstract. No, you had this fantastic world, and most of the puzzles you have to go into a screen, remember some strange code from other part of the world. But other very interesting puzzles were just changing the wall and this tower rotates, and that was the most interesting for me, because the puzzles and the world were the same thing. You didn't have to go into a screen or into an external thing. Of course, when you get um, chased by a monster there, and there's a puzzle to get rid of it, that's fantastic. That's storytelling and puzzles. What else? Also, the ones from Amanita Design, like Samorost, Machinarium, Botanicula, etc. They are fantastic and very inspiring, and they actually opened this genre of surreal animation with no words, point and click, and fantastic stories, very charming. So I feel very very close to Amanita style too. but also, for example, the ones the graphic adventures from Wadjet Eye games like Blackwell series
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
the and Avowed, etc. It's very nice from these games that the director's commentary that you can activate while playing. I really learned a lot about game design. Listen to Dave Gilbert is the name. Dave Gilbert, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. um, Listening to his design choices and
Uh-huh,
stuff,
uh-huh.
it actually made me reflect a lot of how a game has to be designed and the big picture and the coherence of the story. Because that's another danger where you go into surrealism again. If everything is just possible and random, maybe you can lose the
Control.
structure or lose
Yeah.
the coherence, and it's not only important to have weird, charming things here and there, but the whole line of the whole arc of the game has to be coherent, even if it's strange and surprising.
I see. As as you mentioned the puzzles, when designing your puzzles, how do you decide about the puzzles? How hard should they be, or should not? Like, what's the point of these puzzles for you? Should they be very hard, or not that hard, or very easy puzzles? How do you decide if you
Yes,
take them into the story and the art?
yes, it's always a challenge to fine tune that level.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go to the very hard ones because there's a cheap and easy way to make things just hard for the sake of it. You just hide something, but that's a mistake of the genre. Like it's called pixel hunting. You shouldn't have to go pixel hunting for things, um, or just too convoluted for the sake of it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't know. I guess you have to always constantly take a step back and put yourself in the skin of the player
Mm-hmm.
and just what is he understanding now? Of course, you have to give him an obstacle so that the first direct route is not working. So if this is not working because you need that, but so how to calibrate the difficulty. Also, I didn't want it too hard because the moment we find a very hard problem, you go to the internet to ask for the solution because most of people does, and I do this myself also. Although it's a sin to do that for the genre, but we don't have the patience that we used to have in the 90s where
Yeah,
we
it's
don't
true. It's
have
true. When you only
internet and
had
we could,
magazines to read or ask your friends from the neighborhood. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
and you still love the game even though
yeah,
you didn't actually finish most of those games back in the day.
yeah.
But today we don't have that patience, so instead of having a frustrated player go online to look for the solution, and that I rather give him a not so hard challenge.
I see.
And to my surprise, it worked very fine without we didn't um, change. I didn't change anything from the puzzles after seeing people's reaction. I mean, the puzzles work as they were designed to in my head, and the player get that experience. And I don't think I introduce any differences.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any after testing with people. But of course, you have the hint book, which is another thing that is not correctly implemented today in the video game. The hint book had to give you, as it does in the demo, it has to give you only the hints you need, only the parts of the drawing that you need and you ask for. But nowadays, as of today, when you open the hint book, it gives you the whole picture,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is a spoiler.
I
It shouldn't
experienced it.
be.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It's a pity.
yeah.
But I'm fighting, and hopefully soon it can be fixed, so no more spoiling for the future players.
I see.
That's another solution to keep the player in the game and only giving the enough hints and not to have him go to the internet to to look for the solution.
I see. I
But
see.
yeah, we have to work with this level of tolerance to frustration that we have today. Mhm.
I see. Okay, so you were also talking about the background. How you decided to use these backgrounds elements and mix them with pure animations? And you were talking about Sarah Lopez. Am I correct? She
Yeah.
also collaborated with you. So could you tell
Mhm.
us more about this collaboration and these backgrounds in your game?
Well, uh, 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 I'm friends with the creator of Pocoyo, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a similar mind
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that we like our character with no background. That's kind of our personality, our
Mm-hmm.
character making the silly things and blank or background. So that's how I started the game, with very, yeah, minimalistic
Mm-hmm.
or directly black background. But I like to get into trouble, so little by little, I said, okay, I'm comfortable with these minimalistic backgrounds, so I'm going to jump to all the contrary, to baroque backgrounds full of things. Uh, so I saw that well, Sarah Lopez, she was my girlfriend at the time, and she's an illustrator, and she had at her place these fantastic old objects, and she was already making illustrations and collage out of them. We had already collaborated in a life story and two other more music videos. So we had a nice collaboration. And so when I saw these fantastic little objects, antiques at her place, I just visualized Mr. Coup jumping around them, and I said, let's make the backgrounds out of these things. So yeah, we just took the photos at home with very homemade lighting and stuff, lighting, uh, and a lot of Photoshop, mixing one things with the other. And I think it's interesting for me not to be afraid to make a collage of styles, because many people creating, like, they force themselves to be coherent in one style. But no, if I have I mean, my mind is a bit scattered and gets bored with one single thing. So why not put this thing by this thing and strange styles and strange mix? Because the viewer or the player doesn't get scared out of it. The player just takes in the world as you present it. Eh, So there's no incoherence in mixing styles, especially when it's coherent with the story. So if we get into the layer of the tower of the old guy who is a hoarder, and he also likes the beautiful old stuff, it's very coherent. For example, to have this very solid, very very real part, which is actually a characteristic of the old guy, the weight and the real, the boring real. Now you are subject to gravity and to real stuff, and many of the puzzles are about overcoming gravity, because Mr. Cook can only jump this much, so he has to go and 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 maybe that gives birth to the puzzles, because the final puzzle, yeah, you have to use strange contraptions to boom, to kind of fly the
Yeah.
little thing, so overcoming gravity. So yeah, so we made these two rooms out of a lot of objects
Mm-hmm.
and photographs. And but for the other two rooms of the tower, I think yeah, we went the illustration way. I where I made the line drawing, and I was a bit already overwhelmed by all the work that I had to do. So I'm not so specialized in coloring, and at least coloring backgrounds. So I couldn't handle that myself at the time. So I hired this watercolor painter, Ismael Pinteño, and he actually made a very nice job, given the light and the atmosphere to the last two rooms, which are colored. And I made the final touches in Photoshop, and again, a contrast from photos to paintings, but no player has ever complained about it.
Yeah.
On the contrary, it adds richness to the
Yeah.
experience.
Exactly. Yeah, and as you said that for the old guy in the game, the background items are probably very boring, or for Mr. Coup they are very boring, but as for the player it's a very rich world, like experiencing it, and it's a living world if you play the game, seeing that background, that everything is moving in the background, so it's a very living world. So it's that contrast that the game and the real life has to show throughout the game. Yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
so we were talking about the apple. Why is the apple in a small present box? So
Hmm.
what's the
Uh,
motive of the apple in the present box, or in the present?
well, as I told before, the apple is just this biblical
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
paradise reference,
mm-hmm.
which has to be is the will to live at the end, no? The will to get into trouble and to have
Yes,
adventures. And it's in a present because you get the present of life. And the present of
I see.
life is
Okay.
the present of you want to go into an adventure, but it's a present that is already you wonder what's inside. So the desire is already there. What's inside? I'm going to open it, and of course you have to chase it. It goes away. So that's a MacGuffin, I say, like a trick to get the player going and starting the desires. Some stories just based on you have to chase the MacGuffin, whatever excuse, all the way through, and you get it at the end. No, I wanted to to I wanted for Mr. Ku to have the apple early in the game. You can get what you want, but that's the beginning of the troubles. I mean, the story doesn't. The story actually starts when you get what you want, what you think you wanted, uh, because it's not the desire got you into the desire, which is the best motivation, but
Yeah,
also
exactly. Yeah.
the best and the worst, because Buddhists, no, the Buddhists say that the desire is the source of all pains and all suffering in life. But yeah, but if you get rid of desire, it's boring. So I'm not free from desire. I rather celebrate desire and celebrate the messes you get into this life, and what you can actually learn from it. And even in the mess, the final mess of the game, okay, I'm okay. I don't want to make a spoiler, but it ends with a party in the middle of chaos. So even if desire got us into this mess, we can actually celebrate it. Even if the wound is not actually completely healed, but we can make a party.
It's interesting that you were talking about it now, because I would, if it's okay, I would reference to my childhood life for it. When I was a kid, I remember we were always laughing about this moment of my life with my parents. That my mom told me to that my room was very messy, and I had a box with full of Legos, and there was a little Star Wars soldier in the box, and she told me to make to tidy up my room, and I was like, no, it's okay, I can find everything in my room, you know. And she was like, no, you can't find anything, your room is a mess. And I was like, just look, I can find the Star Wars soldier. And I grabbed him out of the box full of Legos, and it's a Star Wars soldier. And I was like, it's my life, pretty much the same that you mentioned throughout your story. That I believe that being very strict to your life is not always the right way. Like you have a lot of every person has a lot of sides in themselves, and it's very messy, and you cannot always control yourself and what you do and what you experience. But that's probably the nicest thing about life, because that's how you can experience things. And that goes back to what I was saying before, that it's pretty much about being a child, that you don't know things but you want to experience them, and that's how you learn about them. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that what I wanted to ask as well is that a lot of people who do art or any creative stuff in their life, can burn out, or at least not having any motivation to do something when they wake up someday. Have you ever had experienced these kind of days throughout your life, or you never, and you always knew what to do, and you never burnt out
Mm,
from day to day or week to week?
um, I never actually burnt out. I'm very tired right now. Tired of these long years of making this game, but
Mm-hmm.
I still have lots of ideas. I'm maybe tired of doing it all by myself. Animating, which is a very mm, hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, mhm, painstakingly animating frame by frame. So I would like to delegate that part. But it's true that some periods of my life the inspiration is higher, or but it never ran away actually for
Mm-hmm.
me. I actually relax by drawing and making whatever up little stories and comic books. Uh, but maybe sometimes, yeah, I do enjoy so much designing puzzles and, and making this stuff that when I have nothing to design, I feel this void. Oh, I want to draw, but I don't know what to resolve everything. Mm, luckily nowadays I do have a lot of inspiration and yeah. Uh, for me it never actually run dry the inspiration, but if for anyone does, I think it's good to just to take a break and let things happen naturally, not to force yourself to. We have a lot of ideas what should go, the direction that should go, and the goals we should achieve, but if we just stopped for a while, what comes naturally will pop up, and again the desire to express or whatever. I think you can let it come up by itself instead of, come on, I have to do something. Why
Yeah,
am I
exactly.
run out of ideas? No, no. For me, even when I'm in a bad day, it's very therapeutical just to start drawing Mr. Coup, and the, the 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 worst periods of my life are the most fertile in terms of little comics, and which help me understand myself and realize just improvising a comic book. Um, the I cannot lie when I am drawing Mr. Coup. If I want to make him happy and I'm not happy, no, it will look fake. So I just let Mr. Cool express whatever. Many times he's crying or he's breaking apart or whatever. But okay, what's the next vignette and what's the next panel, and something gets a little development, and little things start to flow and get unblocked.
I see.
Mm-hmm. But you have to trust in the process.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you were talking about that it's very tiring and hard work to animate all the animation frames alone, but you also mentioned that you had like problems with the company who messed up your game, and because of them, the game had bugs. So can it give you like the feeling of being scared to work with other animators because of other people messed
Mm.
up your game? Can it be the case for the future that you are not going to want to work with other animators because you will be scared that they can mess up something? And
It's a challenge for me, but it's the challenge that life puts me in front. So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it's what I have to learn. I've been learning to do it all myself. Now I have to learn to collaborate with others.
I
And
see.
my first lesson is uh, about the bad partners, and about the bad relationship. So that's the first point. But
I see.
from here, it can only go better because I've learned a lot what not to tolerate and what not to trust. Of course, yeah, it will be a challenge, but
I see.
I'm willing to to learn it.
And to take it, yeah. Okay.
For example, I'm also working as a teacher now and then,
Oh, okay.
not full time, but once a year I go to Valencia to
Mm-hmm.
the Fine Arts University. There in a master of animation they have there. I give like 10 days of very intense animation course, and I like it a lot. So I'm good in a position of teacher. Maybe if I can find workers, yeah, that with whom I can uh, that we understand each other and can
Mm-hmm.
collaborate, that will
Mm-hmm.
be the next thing to build for my in terms of team.
I see. And have you ever been thinking of making your very own company, like with others?
That's an idea, but yeah, I don't like bureaucracy and the boring parts of this.
I see. I see.
Making my own company, so I have
Yeah, I
to
see.
work
Yeah, I
with this guy
understand.
here and this one here, and I'm responsible for. I rather make my drawings, and I don't know. Maybe that's the future format, but it's all something that my mind. Even though I'm old, I'm still a child in this sense. Oh, making a company is too complicated. That's
Yeah,
the
I
child
see.
part of me.
I see.
Some people are much younger than me, and they are making their own company already, but it's a different mentality.
I
Mm.
see. Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know.
So
I'm open to life to give me my next opportunity.
I
Many
see.
people already know me, and I know the right partners will come up when the time is right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you mentioned a lot of things, but I'm wondering, do you have any other hobbies that you are passionate about?
Yes, yes, yes. In fact, all this mystical stuff has been an important interest of mine for a lot of years. So I was into different kinds of meditation and stuff. But in later years, this research takes more of a physical form. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, more of through the body. The latest thing I'm making is Aikido,
Oh, okay.
which is this very fluid and interesting martial art. And I've been doing this for 9 years already. So,
Nice.
in fact, there's some Aikido references in the game where Mr. Coup tries to attack the crocodile with a sword. I wasn't into Aikido by then, but I had already seen some videos and I was fascinated by these movements. So I kind of imitated what I understood about it, where an attack can be made into a something fluid and not collision. So I find through this practice, I find a lot of the mystical and philosophical laws of the universe put into practice, for example. And another thing that has been very inspiring in the later years has been Buto dance with a B-U-T-O. It is a H. It's a Japanese dance of darkness,
Oh, okay.
where you
Sounds
kind of
interesting.
yeah. It was developed after the Second World War,
Mhm.
and instead of going the beautiful way and ballet and stuff, they went, okay, but what happens with the people who are dead by radiation and stuff? And they started experimenting very
Okay.
creepily. They paint themselves in white and yeah, kind of improvise, intonize, yeah, tuning with these not so pleasant frequencies, but it's creepy on the outside. On the inside, it's absolute freedom because you can kind of take away your human mask, and you don't know, you don't have to keep this good pose all the time. Okay, I'm very correct. So you can
Yeah.
actually be the strange insect that you are inside or whatever, and start kind of lucid dreaming at the same time. Fantastic, Buto dance. So this kind of experiences I find the most inspiring, very very interesting. And I also like music. I'm not a very good musician at all, but I do like little toy
Nice.
instruments like this. This is a wooden ocarina. So I like
Nice.
making all kinds of noises, and I have a toy piano here. Okay, so
Nice.
but just for the fun of it.
I
In
see.
fact,
I see.
the music of El Laberinto Esférico, it was made with these toy instruments that I had at home, and with the
Mm-hmm,
help of a friend who is a musician and helped me record it and arrange it a little bit.
mm-hmm.
It came out nicely.
I see. Yeah. Okay, you mentioned by the Japanese dance that you can take away your mask and show your true colors. That do you think people will ever learn how to really be themselves, and everyone will be really themselves, and not just taking on their mask and lying about their feelings and all that stuff, or
Mm.
it will never happen in our world? What do you think about that?
I think we are moving in that direction
Okay.
because all the structures that are crumbling down right
Mm-hmm,
now,
mm-hmm.
many of those structures were what you have to be your role and you deliver your role
Yeah.
because the roles are working, but the roles are not working anymore. So we are in this crisis, but also feeling a bit liberated of having to go the traditional way, which no
Yeah.
longer works. So each one is little by little finding more freedom because you cannot find safety in the old ways.
Yeah.
And of course, it will not be uh, full freedom and everyone in paradise being themselves
Yeah.
because life is always messy. But I think we are little by little respecting and supporting and appreciating the individualities of everyone. You can see this in video games because the indie video games are since a lot of are just taking the space of mainstream video games because they were a rarity when they came up 10 years ago or 15, I don't know. But nowadays people appreciate more and more. Just give me a different aesthetic, give me something personal and not just robotic 3D
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
science.
Yeah, and they are risking their career as well, because like if it's not working out, they might not be able to produce and to make any other games or sequels. But if it's working out for them, then they are on a good way to continue their dreams. So it's very nice to see that a lot of indie developers are really hard working by that, because a lot of AAA companies, in my opinion, they are not willing to take the risk to make crazy ideas out of their mind, and they are just doing what their publisher is saying. Okay, it's making money, it's making money, do a
Mhm.
sequel, do the same, and it's working. It's okay, because they are good games as well for me, but I mean, I appreciate smaller studios games more, because I feel like they are, like I said, they're willing to take a risk and show their project, and not just make a game that a company told them to make. So yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so as for video games, I forgot to ask you that, like I told you, and I showed you, I got the collector's edition of Mr. Coup. What do you think about video game industry's disc versions of games and digital games? Do you think that disc versions of games will ever fade away, and there will be an era where disc versions won't be available to buy, or what do you think about that?
I have no idea. I'm a total outsider in this in this
Okay,
sense, even though I released my own game
okay,
in physical, but I just delegated these decisions on the people who supposedly know what they were doing.
okay.
I was amazed that even though if you have your disc version,
Mm-hmm.
you have to update it anyway. You need the internet because it's
Yeah, exactly.
the Mr. Coup version that got into the disk is absolutely full of bugs, and you would better update it with the latest past patch. So anyway, you are dependent on the cloud. Uh, I, I don't know at all. Well, because I have not been. I don't. I'm not a buyer of physical editions
I
at
see,
all.
I see.
and I was amazed at the interest that they got for, I don't know, for collectors.
Mhm.
And I put a lot of care into making our own collector edition, but uh, it's not. Yeah, I didn't know about this this part of the industry.
I see.
Uh, I think I have already too many objects, and I don't I don't want to go like the old man getting more and more objects. I have enough already. I like the virtual, which is clean,
I see.
but I cannot speak about the whole industry, or because I'm an outsider in that sense.
I see. Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned that the disc has to be updated because, like, I remember when playing in the PS2 and PS1 era, you just bought a disc, you put it in your console system, and you can play it. And I think that the developers and the publishers were forced to make their games like for 100%. Of course, they had
Mhm.
bugs, but not that much of bugs like nowadays games has because I think that nowadays developers and publishers also have this kind of in a weird sense to say but freedom that they can every time they can update their game if it's not finished properly finished. And it's interesting that the internet changed this way of thinking how to release the game as for developers and publishers, in my opinion,
Yeah, it's
at
a
least.
it's a shame for me. I mean, you should release when the game is perfect. Of course,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
if it had, then you can find the surprise that there was a hidden bug, and okay, and you can fix it. But we should have better tools nowadays.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
why the fuck we have worse quality releases?
Yeah.
When I was coding myself things in Flash, I knew that they were solid and they would work. Um and I was amazed that the coders nowadays, well, at least the ones and the way of working that I found, it was okay. Let's make first a crappy version and we will correct it later. Well, no, man, you make it every step properly and it's solid, and you know what you are doing, and you know what you are releasing, because this we fix it later never comes. And we have, of course, it's also a matter of business and money and the world going faster and faster every day and everyone working on a crunch. That's not acceptable. That's not a good direction.
Yeah.
Uh, you have to know what you are doing, what you can release, and what the compromise that and the dates that you are settling for. And if you don't have the proper game, you don't put a release date. That's how it should be. And if you don't have the money to do it, you don't do the thing so big.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I call responsibility with the player and with the work itself.
Yeah. Do you think by indie games coming up so high and reaching out that high, even at AAA games, do you think that it can change the video game industry in a way that AAA companies will recognize this problem and they will take a step back and release their games only if it's finished? Do you think that
Mm,
it can happen in the future?
I don't know. Of course, it's already happening that big companies are learning a lot and taking ideas and
Yeah.
appreciating also a little bit of different voices from indie games. I don't know about this quality thing, really, how it what which direction it will
Mhm,
go.
mhm, mhm. I see.
And we seem to be in a paradigm shift phase with now. Well, we had Unity and Unreal, but Unity has made strange things and it's in a crisis, and
Yeah.
no one knows what would be the platform of the future.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm not willing to learn a new coding language. I will skip with Flash until as long as it works,
Mhm,
because with Flash you can still release for PC and Mac,
mhm,
and we will see about the port later if it's necessary.
mhm.
Um, but probably technology will change a lot in the very coming years. Very recent years, it will change a lot with, of course, AI and stuff can change a lot of things. So we will see. We will see what direction it will take.
I see. And you mentioned the port and the PC and Mac version about games. Was it intentional at the first place that you released for a lot of platforms like PlayStation and Xbox too? Or was it first PC and then you decided to release for consoles? Or how did it happen at the process of making the game?
Well, since I knew nothing about the industry and about consoles,
Mm-hmm.
well, I had been working for Ubisoft before,
I see.
but I just made my work in animation. I was living there in France, and it was a great experience, great company, very professional. I just made my animation work and let them do the publishing and the mysterious things. So when I had this Mr. Coup project, I needed someone to help me take it just to the market. And this company had the formula of, okay, we make it in Unity and it can be released for all consoles at the same time and for all versions at the same time, which kind of makes sense. But it was the conversion from Flash to Unity that which gave all the problems. So it was not my idea. I mean, I just delegated the decisions of where to launch and how to launch in the people who were supposed to be the
I see.
experts.
I see.
And it's true that okay, then the Unity version works for all platforms, but for example, the problem with the hints is it's a memory problem with the quantity of images, which should have been a solution had to be found for it. It cannot be so hard to put many images, which there are not so many. But since the Switch version didn't accept this quantity of memory, all versions have to be backed up because
No
of
words.
the
Yeah, I
limitations of
see.
the Switch.
Yeah, I see. I see. I see.
So maybe it wasn't such a great idea. Maybe it would be better to release well and good for PC and then see about the ports. Maybe when you try to save money and resources with a bad planning, you end up wasting more money, time, and resources.
I see. I see. Okay. Okay, so you mentioned the future of your games, but are you planning to make art and deliver your art in other forms as well? Or smaller movies or books or graphical novels or something like that? We're thinking of that in the future?
Well, everything is open, and
I
I
see.
had some people asking me if I will be interested in a animated series or something. But for the moment, my creativity and inspiration only takes the form of games,
I see.
strangely. See. And the people I see in movies and directing their own movies or their own series, I don't see them very happy. I mean, it's a very, very hard work and very, yeah, rushing industry. And especially if you want to make something personal and interesting, too many people suffer in the process. You can also suffer a lot with video games, but I don't know. Maybe because there's such a big market and the money is kind of more direct. I guess you don't have to ask for. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to manage the money, or. But it looks like better business, and for me, more. I find more freedom, creative freedom in video games than in shorts or films or series where you have I don't know you have to sell your idea to people in the industry,
Yeah.
but in games there's, they even you don't even have to sell your idea if it looks nice. Okay, go do your game. Like it's more there's more openness, I
Yeah,
find.
and if an idea will be recognized by the players, then it can go
Exactly.
and earn very big numbers. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. So you talked about the three pieces of Mister. Do they relate at least the number three that you mentioned to Mister Coup, Crocodile, and the big guy or old guy? Or how
uh,
you decided that you have to cut into three pieces?
yes, this comes from one of my early meditation interests and experiences.
Okay.
uh, I was into the work of Gurdjieff. which was the developer of the fourth way, is called his teachings. And this mystical master has been very influential in the spirituality of the early 20th century. And okay, he had a very complex system, very interesting, but trying to put some order in the mess that every human is, and how he deals with his attention and with the different voices inside of them. So a simple way to divide our parts can be the intellectual, emotional, and
Okay.
physical instinct.
Okay.
So that immediately made sense to me and was very inspiring. To, of course, the head wants something and the emotions want another thing, and the body instinct wants a different thing. So I found it very inspiring to have this within yourself, different parts that. Mhm.
I see.
And in the game, you actually have to rescue the emotional part, which yeah, there are resonances with other parts of the game, with other characters. The emotional is the lady with the big eyes, and there's something with this cauldron boiler, the lady coming out of there, where you have to.
Yeah.
I've in my earliest part of my life, I consider myself too mental,
Mm-hmm.
too
Mm-hmm.
intellectual, and then I found that I do have a lot of emotions going around
I see.
and
I see.
stuff, but are very unknown to myself. It's usually other people can actually see my emotions better than I do myself. So these mysterious emotions for me, trying to relate to this mysterious lady and also to the locked in the cage torso.
Heart. Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's yeah, I can see that I have developed myself a lot since when I started the game to when I finished. I'm much more in contact with these emotional parts, for example. And then the legs just running around are much more carefree and available and happy than the head. The head is worried and
Yeah.
so the body is actually fine if you fall into the body. The head is one.
I see.
So and you need the collaboration of them three to so
To
the
work out.
piano. No?
Yeah. To play
In
the
the
piano.
piano, if you don't have the three, it wouldn't make good music.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So I think that we discussed a lot today. So I can't think of other questions right now. But yeah. Okay. Is there anything that you would like to say, which is special or something interesting about your life or about video games or the animations you made?
Well, yeah, I think we actually touched the important parts. Yeah, my intention is strange that this video game was started in 2012 and it had the good quality back in 2012, but
Mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm,
not. I thought I was going to make something quick,
mm-hmm.
and little and quick, and just release it. But once again, it's not up to me to decide the timing. I can do the work, but it's not up to me to decide when it will be recognized and the right time to be launched. And it's ironic that I I I put Mr. Coup in strange situations and he thinks he's going to get something, but no, it gets twisted. And I have a laugh of Mr. Coup, but at the end of the day, it looks like it's Mr. Coup who is having a laugh of out of me because yeah, he wanted me to make this video game. I had my own intentions, and these intentions were totally once and again. It doesn't happen as I wanted, but it's a mess, but it's fantastic at the end of the day because my even with all the problems, I can my message is actually connecting to people,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
actually, for example, knowing you and the discussions that we have had
Yeah.
these days. Just after the launch, I was really very worried that it had been launched in the bad quality. But listening to your reaction, it actually made me realize that even with the problems, my message was there, and the communication from soul to soul, we can say
Yeah.
it had been achieved.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot also for expressing it to
No,
me.
thank you to for your work and for the game. Yeah, because like I said, I love your work and your game, and I hope that there will be a sequel at least, or or new
Yeah,
games from you, because I would like to see more. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I can, since it's so also random and messy and mysterious, I cannot say when or how, but
Okay.
it's on the
We
works
will
and it
wait.
will
We will wait.
somehow.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm very thankful that, like I said before, that you have accepted my request for this interview, and I'm also very honored that I could play your game and enjoy it, and it really touched my soul, like you said, and it is a lot of message for me, and I have went through, like I said to you in my emails, that I have went through a lot of bad stuff and good stuff in my life, like I think that we all do, people in our world, but game of yours really touched my soul and my heart in a way that I could appreciate the dark times and the bad times through all of my life, and I think that it's a very important thing when it comes to video games or books or every form of art, that people can relate, like you told me before, to a special message and help them through their life, or appreciate the times that they had. And I think it's a very good thing about life, that people like you can really give the message to the people, and like you said, we were at the right time at the right place, get to know each other, so it's a very nice thing to happen, and yeah, I'm very thankful. So okay,
Likewise.
thank you. I will close the stream now. So everyone who is on the stream, thank you for being here, and this interview of me and Nacho will go out to YouTube. So thanks everyone. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.